we adopted a long time ago the idea, and this is a good one to land everything on.
Okay.
You can have God or you can have answers.
Yes. I love it.
But
I love
you
that.
probably can't have both.
Right.
And so
I find that so helpful. Many people find it frustrating,
I,
but I
I
find
think
it
I did it
helpful.
first,
Yeah.
but I think if you have gotten through some of those younger seasons in your faith journey, that it is more about a direction that you can go than than answers you can have.
With God, there is always more. More love, more life, more freedom. Welcome to Zoe's Exploring More with Michael Thompson. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Our Heavenly Father has provided many delightful inns for us along our journey, but He takes great care to see that we do not mistake any of them for home." Join me and the team as we explore the kingdom together, discovering the deep truths and offering encouragement for the journey. There is always more.
Welcome, friends and allies, to the Exploring More podcast. Michael Thompson, hanging out with SJ Jennings.
At it again.
Amateur theological experts.
Professional amateurs.
Professional amateurs. Going through Galatians, and we're at the final chapter, bro. Chapter 6.
Yeah. Galatians, the final chapter.
The final chapter.
Yeah.
And it's a great journey, man. I don't even want to get started in review mode because there's so many good things in this letter.
I feel like Paul's kind of gotten a lot off his chest by 6, and so now he's kind of like, okay, remember.
He goes around. He circles the airport a time or two in chapter 6. He's like, it's a little bit one more time, but there's so many good things that are going. So many hard things are going on that Paul really wants these young believers to be free. That's chapter 5 was just so much about freedom. I've been working on our new devotional plan that's going out to YouVersion and to our allies. And stuff
30-day, right?
30 days, and it's the gospel of more.
Yeah,
and it's not this gospel of more. That's what Paul's writing about, the gospel of more, observing more of the law, of ultimately even circumcision and the calendar, the Jewish calendar, which is full of wonderful dates to celebrate God's provision and protection. And yet it's not that gospel of more. It's the gospel of more freedom, of more experiencing God's love and the life that God has for us in the kingdom.
Abundant.
Which is abundant and free.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Paul is after. So as I've been working on that and sharing that in devotional content, I mean, in the fact that we are plowing through Galatians, it could be in almost every day of the devotional of our 30-day devotional that we're going to publish soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I've enjoyed that, and I feel like chapter 6, the landing gear doesn't come down till the end of chapter 6. So there's even more goodness to talk about, and it's going to be fun to talk about. So, any opening thoughts before we take a quick break?
Yeah, I think when I was talking about Paul's gotten a lot off his chest. This 6 to me is now, here's how to do this together, right? And I've told you what you should do. I've told you what you shouldn't do. I've told you what you were bound to. I've told you what you're free to do now. Now do this with and for each other, right? And hold each other up, but also hold each other to account, right? And so it's a really great way to to end the letter, I think, you know, in this way.
Yeah, because the challenges that came from outside this community, now it impacts and affects the community. So now you have a disunity and disharmony amongst, friends and family. And so this chapter is, you're right, it's just a great, enough about them. All right, huddle up and let's review and revisit how we're to live with each other. And there's a reason why he's writing it, because there's got to be factions within. There's got to be discord within. There's got to be some who have joined kind of the zealous group that they were impressed upon to do that, and some who haven't. I mean, I think of, before we break, I think of just the whole heightened times of COVID. You know, it was March. We were at dinner with a bunch of friends. Do you remember? We were
we're about to go see Les Mis.
Yep, at the DPAC at our Performing Arts Center, and everybody's phones are lighting up because the place we had dinner was right near the theater, and the whole restaurant, the phones are. People are, you could just tell something was up, and the show had been canceled, and I'm not, this is not an accusation about whether that should or shouldn't have happened, but I'm saying that there were a group of people who were so impacted by what was happening and what was coming that they canceled everything, and it brought with it an effect on a crowd of people, at least in the restaurant, not to mention the other several thousand people that are going to be coming.
Right.
And, that was our introduction and beginning into this thing that we all endured, called COVID. And man, even in that, you had, so what made me think of COVID, SJ, was, I used the word factions. I mean, I don't know of a time that I witnessed and was a part of as much division as we were in our country. And I mean, just from masks to the 6 feet apart, the quarantine, the vaccinations, the second round, the third round, the getting it. Yeah. And what that meant. I mean, it
was like religious factions.
Because people were deeply impacted and had deep, strong opinions about what needed to be done, what should be done, who's responsible, when is this going to happen? I mean,
who should you believe?
I mean, that's who is telling the truth,
right?
And so, I think Paul wants to have the last word, and so we're gonna be right back with chapter 6 of Galatians on the Exploring More podcast in just a minute.
Every great adventure starts with preparation, a place to gather, rest, and equip ourselves for the journey ahead. In the same way, Zoe's Base Camp is here for you, an online resource library created to encourage and strengthen Zoe allies on the road to deeper connection, healing, and restoration. A base camp is a staging ground, a place to prepare for the next leg of your expedition. At Zoe, Base Camp is a resource library designed to help you and our allies gear up for the journey of the heart. It is packed with devotionals, discussion guides, and podcasts to help you deepen your relationship with God and one another. When you visit Base Camp, you'll find a growing collection of resources, each crafted to guide you and the men in your circles on your walk with God. Each series that you find below includes a devotion plan with supplemental video content from the Explore More podcast. The devotionals are designed for both personal reflection and small group discussions, helping you dig deeper into God's truth while building meaningful relationships. On the Basecamp website, you will see the various series that we have available. When you click on a series, you'll have the opportunity to download the PDF devotion plan and the discussion guide questions. This also includes an invitation to reflect in time alone with God. Share the plan with your small group and send out the podcast videos for members to watch on their own time. Then, when you gather, dive into conversations about what God is revealing to each of you. Basecamp is more than a resource library. It's a tool for building redemptive brotherhood on the road to experiencing more life, more love, and freedom with God. Start your journey today, explore Basecamp, and reach out to us at allies@zoe.org if you have any further questions.
Welcome back to the Exploring More podcast. Before we leave COVID, we were sick as dogs, man. That was the most sick I've ever been. That October.
Yeah, end of September, early October. Yeah.
We were supposed. It's still really curious about whether or not you should have anything gathering. It was getting to be that way. That there was, and even religious spaces, churches, and different. They had different opinions on that. Josh has a story, on what COVID did to his church. It was just a year or so old, but yeah, during the break, I was thinking, yeah, man, that October getting COVID. We think we know how and where. We're not sure, but how it happened.
Not that it matters much.
Holy cow, man.
But man, I remember after you and I both kind of got back to somewhat able to cognitively function again,
Put a
because
sentence
we
together.
weren't coughing and just
it was a couple
really,
months.
really sick. And
yeah,
I remember talking to you and you were like, "So what are you doing today?" I said, I'm laying on a chaise lounge getting sun because my wife told me I need sun." And you were like, "Yeah, I'm laying in the sun too."
It was fall on my back porch. I mean, I just
We were
sitting there
like,
looking at trees, man.
trying to make my brain work.
I know.
It was rough. I've told people
Yeah.
definitely it was the sickest I've ever been also.
So why I even wanted to revisit that as we open up is
And now it's like a cold for a lot of people. Apparently, it's like
we're renditions.
That's right.
Up the road, down the road.
Many editions.
But back then, so I had some opinions in September about all this.
Yeah.
And then when it hit me, and it hit me ridiculously hard to where, and it's still early, the experience of it was very, very powerful in terms of adjusting my opinions. And I could see why people were dying or felt like, it was very, very, it wasn't just inconvenient. It was very painful for those first 2 days. And I thought, oh my gosh, is this my turn?
Yeah.
Am I going to be one of the casualties? Because the whole ventilator thing, there was all kinds of press about that. I mean, now I'm not an observer criticizing it. I'm a participant.
I'm experiencing
it.
Yeah.
And I just that's why chapter 6 is really good for, you got strong opinions going on with all these folks, some who had actually been infected maybe is a better word, by these religious leaders. And that had to feel like something. Like, wait, I was doing this because I was told it was gonna make me better, things better.
Oh yeah.
It was gonna make God, I was gonna align with Israel and really be a part. And now you're telling me I didn't.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, and just back to that experience for us. I remember thinking, if I had anything else going on, like if I had any other medical problems besides having COVID, a respiratory ailment or this or that. Yeah, I'm not sure I would have. If you and I weren't healthy as horses going in,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the outcome would have been. And that's what the outcome was for so many, because they had
Right.
other stuff they were dealing with too. And so, yeah, man, it was,
So
it was an eye-opening
yeah.
time.
So what I want to come back to is what you said before the break is, so here's the first 4 or 5 verses in a nutshell. So be kind, man.
Yeah.
Just be
Do
kind.
good to all.
Be kind.
You know?
Be kind
Don't-
to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind.
Mm-hmm.
Do good.
Be gentle.
Yes.
And watch yourself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's a
Yeah.
if there's a chunk, you've got NIV, I got Amplified,
Yeah.
and why don't you just hit those first
sure.
five verses, 6
Okay.
maybe 6 now.
Sure. Brothers, if someone is caught in a sin, you who are spiritual should restore him gently. But watch yourself, or you also may be tempted. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks he is something when he is nothing, he deceives himself. Each one can test his own actions, then he can take pride in himself without comparing himself to someone else. For each one should carry his own load. Anyone who receives instruction in the word must share all good things with his instructor.
Yeah. This is about the team and the dynamic. The Amplified and the message.
And if you
both.
can help somebody, help them. But it's because of Christ that you can do that, right? I mean, don't be tempted to think that. I always thought that was like, gently help someone if they're caught in a sin, and don't be tempted by that sin. Like if they're gambling, don't you go get tempted to gamble. I think the temptation is more rather than that, like, confront your brother if he's sinning and don't be tempted by that sin. Don't be tempted by the sin of thinking you've got everything together.
Yeah, you're better.
That you're somehow better than that person.
So do you have any, we have not rehearsed or talked about this.
Okay, these are always fun.
I know. So do you have any stories or examples or illustrations of being, being in Paul's words, restored from somebody with it gently? Have you had any experience with somebody confronting you in a spirit of gentleness and care, and it actually having some kind of positive, encouraging effect?
Yeah, I think I've got one where I was confronted, and then I'll share one where I confronted somebody. So probably, gosh, who knows, man? I don't know what year it was, but it was back remember when JB was still a part of our team? He was at our weekends and around a lot more, and his life has gotten more full in other directions, and we miss him.
Yep.
But I remember we were in the living room at the house up at the camp at Rockbridge, the camp where we do the encounter weekends. And we were just kind of sitting around talking about some different things. I can't remember if we were talking about the weekend and the talks or what we were talking about. But afterwards, he said, SJ, can I talk to you for a second? And I said, sure, man. He said, I love you, man. I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something like, you have a way of being intense and coming across that can be intimidating for some people, myself included. And so I'm not asking you to not be you, but I am asking you to consider that. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And I've considered that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always remember to consider that, but I have considered that since he said that to me. And then another one where I remember I was meeting a guy and his wife, actually. They came to visit our church because they had heard we were a church that was kind of doing some things for marriage and enrichment and whatnot. And they were going through a tough time in their marriage. As a matter of fact, he had an affair. And so his wife found our church first and wanted him to meet us because of our story, me and Sherry. And this guy didn't know my story, our story at the time. He just thought I was a pastor at the church. So he's standing there thinking, okay, here's this dude who's, physically large and in his mind spiritually large. He's going to rip me one side to the other and judge me for what I've done and all of that. And I've heard him tell the story, which is a fun thing to have happen when you hear someone tell a story about you to someone else. And he said, nothing could be further from that. It was, he was really gentle with me, and then found out that our stories were very similar. Yeah. So that gentleness is, it's a really cool weapon of warfare, I think.
Disarming.
Yeah.
It disarms the enemy in a way that makes it difficult to take up offense. And yet, when you're, and it happens in lots of relationships, every relationship that is important, it's gonna have those moments, where, like you said, can we talk about something? Can I talk to you about something? Can I share something with you? The kind that you go, what did I do? What happened? And so,
what about you?
Yeah, I think it's a great way for Paul to start this passage. And yet I think, a lot of experiences I have a bent towards, feeling, criticized. So that said, it can make it difficult for somebody who's trying, my wife and kids for sure. But I think there's that ability to be hurt by even a gentle approach. In the Message, he says it. It's translated this way: live creatively, friends. If someone falls into sin, forgivingly restore him, saving your critical comments for yourself. You might be needing forgiveness before the day's out.
I love it.
I know. Stoop down and reach out to those who are oppressed. Share their burdens, right? Share their burdens.
Yeah.
And so complete Christ's law, which is this law of love, versus the law that he's talking about and all these other stuff. If you think you're too good for that, then you're badly mistaken. So
that's great.
Yeah.
You might need forgiveness.
You might have a turn by the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
I can see why that would resonate with you. That particular translation.
Yeah, it was good. And so here's what I want to say about that too. And I'm getting to the story, about the precursor of the story. Just because someone even does that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go well.
Right.
That's what I was confessing, that my internal security system needs somebody really that I trust, and the ability to know that they're not being critical. They're really trying to be helpful.
Oh yeah. There was definitely a time, and it really wasn't that much earlier before JB pulled me to the side, that I would have not responded well.
Right.
You know?
Right. So
to that. So you just never know how that's going to go.
We kind of call them prickly gifts, right? To be given that kind of prickly gift. So I've tried. I've had situations where I feel like I have tried to be, gentle and share and subjectively maybe, this is a relational, confrontation, way to move at someone who maybe they are hurting you or in some way missing you, which is hurtful. And I think we, I say it that way and bring it up because I think there's times we look at this and say, well, it's because of the idea of if you catch someone in sin,
Yeah.
so now we're in kind of this immoral space
Right.
versus
I'm going to issue you a citation.
versus just insensitivity or unkindness or somebody who's displays anger or as you said, for you to be perceived as an intense and therefore closed to conversation or some kind of input. So I think it's one of these passages. I think it's worth kind of teasing out and it's tricky because I feel like these people and what they are getting this letter for and what's been happening and now what it looks like in their locker room, right? When it's not good. And it has the potential, right, of being literally splitting and redirection. And now, the Jewish players are going to go in their direction. The Gentile players who want to be Jews are going to go and try in that direction.
Which is exactly what he's trying to remedy and remedy, really, because they're getting factious that way.
Yeah.
And
I think that part,
not what Jesus planned.
Right. I think the big one for me is being, and I'm a proponent of this in parenting and in marriage and in our friendship is just how we are often just wired to tell other people what to think, what to do, how to act.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And it's just it's kind of bringing the powder and the other elements to something that's going to ignite when we bring an agenda or an agenda is brought to us. I mean, we've gone through at Zoe, we've gone through theological analysis and confrontations, right? We've gone through, we've had team members in the past that aren't team members anymore, and not all of that has gone badly. I'm just saying, people get led and moved, and God reassigns them in different places. But sometimes that has happened through very difficult times of not being unified, not connecting, not having a harmony, and that is a very painful season to go through with people that you feel like were on your team or are on your team, and why is this happening?
Yeah.
So
I when you were talking about staying out of judgment, I couldn't not think about the Brene Brown. She did a little short video about the difference between empathy and sympathy. And one of the things that is crucial to staying out of sympathy and in empathy is staying out of judgment. And she says, really hard to do when so many of us love it so much, right? And even in our
judgment.
Judgment.
Yeah.
Well, even in our
me, you.
Yeah. How did you even get in this situation? Oh my gosh. So we were having a pre-recording meeting, and we were talking about maybe some ideas for some upcoming episodes. And one of the things that Andy threw out there as we were talking about listening is not necessarily solving the problem for someone. And we want to solve, especially as dudes, we kind of want to go to fix-it mode. Well, it just occurred to me as you were talking about this and living in judgment, that fix-it mode, I think, is just a really thin, like, ski mask over judgment, right?
That's creepy, but yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to help by telling you what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fix it for you because I know better than you do.
Yeah.
I see what kind of pain your decision-making has brought you. so I should help you
Yeah.
make a better decision. I mean,
man. Yeah. Here's my response as I interrupt.
No, yeah.
For gentleness, man. It's 2 more questions.
Mm.
That would be my definition for gentleness.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I think so. But
It would
say
be,
more.
It would be 2 more questions. Just think of 2 more questions to ask
Right.
before you. I mean, I don't even bat 500, bro. I wrongly perceive crap with my kids, with my friends, with my wife. And gentleness is, hey, can I ask you a question? And
When you said that,
yeah, were you intending to not pay that, or were you
Uh-huh.
gonna? Were you intending to, let that sit there? Or, hey, just I can't think of any great examples. Do you smell what I smell?
yeah, yeah.
Kind of just.
Seems like you think that's still good. I don't
don't-
think it is.
So I think,
Yeah.
but I think about in these topics that matter. Yeah, how to even jump into. Rob and I were talking about finances and just
Hmm.
how she's feeling, how we're doing, and I'm a little bit more of a dreamer, vision spender. And she's not far behind me, but she's behind me a bit. So she's got a little more practical.
Yeah.
So when she says, "Now we got to pay, remember we got to pay this off first," my reluctant, the ability to say, "Yeah, you're right," is the reluctancy there. And we were talking about how, if that was you, it would feel different. It would be different. So my point is, some of it comes down to even who it is
Mm-hmm.
that is offering
Mm-hmm.
and who is sharing.
Yeah.
And
Or asking.
yeah,
Even.
and I think where Paul's going in the next several verses is, like I read you in the message, like, hey man, I'd be careful with that. You may need some forgiveness later. You may need some gentleness later. So he goes into the next sections talking about sowing and reaping. And I want to spend the rest of our time just kind of chatting about that.
Yeah.
Because as I was reading and rereading these in some different translations, I couldn't not think about king me. I couldn't not think about power and authority. I couldn't not think about there's a way things work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so these passages, these verses about 7 and 8, for whatever a man sows, and this only is what he will reap. So sowing gentleness, sowing kindness, even if it doesn't necessarily work out how you think it will, because again, I just said your opinion of what even it is and why it is may need some deeper investigation. But you're dealing with behavior or the lack thereof, expectations that are leading you to want to be somehow even confrontational. So
Yeah.
how you do that, and this is where it gets tricky. So if you are the guy who is, it's his job to confront theologically, more, I mean, you come in with a badge,
All right.
morally.
Self-appointed.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Paul is backing up a principle in the kingdom that Jesus is talking about as well in the Gospels about this will come back and get you.
Yeah.
And that's either, oh, good, because I've the fruit of the Spirit, I've been
Right.
sowing these things in Galatians 5.
Yep.
I've been sowing these
Yep.
into the world, into relationships, which is what he's really talking about in these spaces. And so the odds are now in my favor of experiencing that. Not exclusively, doesn't
Right.
mean
Right.
there's
It's not necessarily. It's not a guarantee, like,
Right.
if you hand a $10 bill to a homeless guy, that you're going to get 100,000
Right.
back. I mean, it doesn't work that way. But it's interesting. I've been sitting here thinking about, when as you've talked about this, when I'm a kid of the 70s, 80s, like you're a few years ahead of me, but remember when Crocodile Dundee movie came out? You remember that movie? Aussies and
Oh, yeah.
all of that. Australia became all the rage. Well, I had to have a boomerang when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. We talk about
I had to have one. And so what do you do when you first get a boomerang and you're a 10-year-old boy? You huck it without even understanding how it's going to work. And it comes back around and almost kills you, right? So we're at the Dangerous for Good Men Summit a couple of weekends ago in Baltimore, and you started talking about this
to those
passage,
guys.
to those guys. And you've done it before too. I mean, if you think about it, sowing and reaping is one thing. Like if I plant a seed of my sinful nature, what Paul's saying here, it's going to reap destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you sow things, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. You don't plant one seed and get one thing back. When you plant a seed of corn, you get 20 cobs on a plant, and they all have kernels all over them.
Yeah.
So it multiplies as you reap, right? So you're talking about it to these guys, and imagine if we all just stand up and we all had a boomerang and we all just chucked them at the same time. Yeah. When we behave this way and talk about each other and live in judgment, live in sin, it's like we're hucking these things out there with no idea where they're going to go and no idea when they're going to come back and whack us in the back of the head.
Right. Yeah,
and maybe because it's a little more violent and direct, I like that example better.
Some ninja boomerangs of some kind.
It's a better reminder to me.
But what was so good about taking it from the one-on-one, like if you're in a field and you chuck the boomerang, it's going to come back around. But when you have a room full of people who are sowing discord or judgment or criticism,
you're hitting 20 guys with your boomerang. Theirs
are hitting you. So it's not the principle's not simply the idea that when you throw your stuff out there, your stuff is going to come back like at you. It's more of, put all these guys in the field, put 100 guys out there, spread them out if you want to, but you would not volunteer for that without a helmet and pads and some other way of protecting yourself. And yet that's where Paul is saying that from Galatians 5 and bringing this home, that, hey, you got to be careful about judgment, about unforgiveness, about unkindness, about all the deeds of the flesh, because they have reciprocal effects, and they will come back,
multiplying,
and they will come back. And I think that's there's very few ways to get those boomerangs out of the air, and the one that I can think of that just kind of just drops them where they at is even to be compassionate to yourself or anyone else throwing it, even to the level of being forgiving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Deciding not to throw one in response to being hit by one. Yeah, man.
And how that disarms and begins to bring the air traffic down.
Yeah.
Lowers
the temperature.
And the ability, I don't know a lot of people that are good at it. I'd like to continue to work at it and be good at it, to being that diffuser, that person who can bring, because it's just a matter of time before you're sitting across from somebody at lunch who's ranting or venting, or hurting,
right,
because of some relationship. And there's just very few mature believers out there that can put that hand of understanding, across and say, "Hey, man, I hear you, man. Let's tell me some more about that." Or, this is really upsetting. Obviously, what can I do to help you? How, just that kind of care, like you're saying, with some empathy, and let them have what we've come to hear as the talking day.
Right.
I mean, we were just on the deck not long ago with some friends, and we did not plan on what transpired.
Yeah.
And yet what unfolded was someone able to express some things that they didn't even know were there.
Right.
And there was no judgment. There was absolute, I think for a few people, maybe it was surprising. For a couple others of us, there it is. Didn't know what it was, but now can't not know what it was. So to treat one another, to have those kind of safe spaces, I think are what Paul's after with this family of believers who have suffered a very, very difficult season and may or may not make it through, may still or may not make it through. And this sowing and reaping and not acting out on the ones who have kind of gone towards the religious life, and them not looking back at those that didn't come and feel better or worse about ourselves in this idea of comparison.
Yeah.
And yeah, to just kind of put whatever history in the last seasons, year or two, for these people have gone down, it's going to take some work for them to be able to restore some of the harmony that Paul's actually alluding to that they had in the beginnings of the church.
Yeah. To that point, I love how he wraps up and again, 11 through 15, he's talking about, because this is the primary issue of the day that he's addressing, this tendency to go back to religiosity under the old law, the Mosaic law,
right,
through circumcision. But what I loved at the end of this was in verse 15, neither circumcision nor uncircumcision means anything. So whether Jew or Gentile, whether whatever your circumstance might be, that really doesn't mean it. What counts is a new creation.
Yeah.
Right. And so peace and mercy to all who follow this rule, even to the Israel of God. So, and then,
of which
grace and mercy and peace to you as he ends the letter. But it just points it back to, there's a new creation, there's a new covenant, there's a new freedom that's found in Jesus.
Yeah, and if you have wandered off, nobody's taking your locker. And
just come back.
And the guys in the locker room, let him have his locker back.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
And to restore them, is all the opportunity, I think, that Paul's after. And I like this. How do you in mid season with this? How do you insert this in mid season while it's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you bring them back? And again, Paul's the letter's like, because I'm telling you, just do it.
Yeah.
But there's a way, I think, that that is going to have to take place here for these guys to overcome this Christ plus
anything.
And as we wrap up, I think about, in my opinion, this is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's why it's Galatians and several of the other letters are still relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I think our our ability to add to what Christ has done is part of the journey. It's so easy to be pulled into the religious or the Pharisaical, or the, if I read my Bible more, if I did more Bible studies, if I went to church more. I mean, we look at our lives,
or less.
I think the more normal
Yes,
gravitational pull is
to
more.
Go into more. You're right.
And
You're right.
to be on more committees and to teach Sunday school.
Work harder.
Yeah,
be more pure somehow. Yeah.
If I just could get more involved, if I just got more serious, if I just got more committed, and those are back to the questions. You know, I find that those are coming from a sincere place of desire or pain, hope or heartache, that life isn't going so well. And I signed up for this so that it would.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
What am I missing? What am I doing?
Right.
Here, finish the sentence. What am I doing
wrong? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That she's leaving, or he's sick, or more month than money.
So interesting, man. We've used the phrase personal theology many times, and what occurs to me as we're landing this discussion, you know, personal theology requires personal revelation.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever that thing is that you think God can't handle, or you somehow have to do more than anyone else in order to be right with God, that's a personal theology that you're holding. And I know, because I've held them.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know, but
there's some inevitability
until I had that personal revelation.
Yeah.
And the personal revelation came on the journey of exploration. Like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling I don't measure up? Why do I feel like I have to do Christ plus anything, whatever the plus is? And asking those questions, you know, what is this about?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We adopted a long time ago the idea, and this is be a good one to land everything on. Okay. You can have God, or you can have answers.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, but
I love that.
You probably can't have both.
Right.
And so
I find that so helpful. Many people find it frustrating, but
I think I did it first, but I think if you have gotten through some of those younger seasons in your faith journey, that it is more about a direction that you can go than answers you can have. And to be in a hard season, to be betrayed, to be hurt, to be left, to be under, you know, the circumstances that for whatever reason create financial strain or pressure. And again, to not have the answers that you want, but to have the direction that you need. I hope that is somehow consolation for keep going. Right. And
walk with God.
And there's, you know, we don't even have time to rev up and talk about, look, this could be a season of just warfare, violent opposition to the hill that you're actually climbing.
If that's what you're hearing right now, we've got series in our past episodes.
You know, to think that God's just not listening, or doesn't care, or is far away, or multiple things that feel like you're reading the circumstances and coming to conclusions. I'm just saying that has not worked well for me. And yet I do find that I'd like to just open up the whiteboard and there it is.
Yeah.
But walking with him,
Unfold the map.
walking with him seems to be what he's most committed to fostering in my life, in that direction, in that kingdom direction, with all the things that I've learned and that I know. I would say I'm learning to live less with the answers and the conclusions. And yet, looking back, as Kierkegaard said, life has to be lived going forward. Unfortunately, I think he says unfortunately, but it's understood looking backward.
Mm-hmm.
So that understanding is available to see what God was doing and is doing. Sometimes you don't have to wait months for that, but I have found that that's the way the game's played, and that's the way the battle's fought.
Yeah.
And how to stay, on that narrow road and moving in that direction when there's forces at work
Mm-hmm.
that would rather I go back to trying to be a good boy rather than stay the course of being a loved boy. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Galatians.
It's been good, man.
Yeah,
It's
fun.
been fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
It has been, and looking forward to more. We got some things to, bring. I'm not going to even make any announcements yet of what's to come, but there's some good summer podcasts that we will broadcast soon.
Yeah.
Let everybody know. So,
Yeah.
I hope this Galatians study's been good. I think I'll just read this last. The last verse, very typical of Paul. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you, with your spirit, my brothers and sisters. Amen. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with your spirit, my brothers and sisters. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for being with us on the Exploring More podcast for Galatians. We'll see you next time.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Exploring More. The landing page for this podcast is zoe.org/podcast. That's ZOWEH.org/podcast, where you can find the show notes and various platforms to which we broadcast. You can also find us and the Life of More by visiting Zoe on YouVersion Bible app, Right Now Media, our Facebook page, and Zoe on Instagram and Twitter. Remember, with God there is always more, and you were made for more.